ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with slightly encouraging news on the state of the economy, emphasis on the slightly. Last week, there was a hint that consumers were ready to do some shopping again when some of the big department stores reported that sales were up in January. Today, the government said that retail sales of all kinds, from cars to carpets, gasoline to groceries, rose 0.6% last month. That is the largest increase in 8 months. Here's our economics editor, Stephen Ogg.
The increase in retail sales was widespread. Sales of building materials soared nearly 5.5% last month, and that's good for firms like the Home Depot of Atlanta, a chain of home improvement stores.
And we've noticed a pickup. It's probably due to some kind of economic recovery, but people haven't really said specifically why.
Sales also improved at department stores, grocery stores, restaurants, and automobile showrooms. At the Ford Motor Company, even though they reported a $2.3 billion loss for last year, the biggest in the company's history, they say things are beginning to look up.
Let me give you an impression that just everything is suddenly dynamite. We see, though, that things are turning around a bit. The dealers are more optimistic. They're starting to order more cars.
The automobile companies say sales rose in January and during the first 2 weeks of February as well. Does this mean consumers are feeling better?
Everything seems to be starting to get a little better, and I feel a little more secure in my job, so I'm able to spend this money that I was holding on to just in case something happened to the job.
Some economists are also upbeat.
The economy is beginning to pick up. We don't see a searchlight at the end of the tunnel, but we're beginning to see some flickering.
A flicker maybe, but it's worth remembering that it was just 1 year ago that economists were sensing similar signals and forecasting the end of the recession by last summer. Stephen Ogg, ABC News, Washington.
One other note, the government says that for the second week in a row, the number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits was down. Many economists had expected the number to go up. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials lost 30 points today to close at 32.46, and the trading was heavy. There's a new report tonight about children and hunger in America. A group called the Food Research and Action Center, which advocates better nutrition for children, says that millions of children who should get breakfast at school do not, even though federal money is available to pay for it. Here's ABC's Bob Jamis.
Good morning, Mr. Rainbow.
These students arrived hungry this morning at Bailey Elementary School in Paterson, New Jersey. But because the school participates in the federally funded breakfast program, they did not go to class hungry. The school has fed 200 students each morning since January.
I think they are starting to see the difference. So if you can help to improve the hunger problems of our very poor students, we help to improve their academic proficiency in reading and math.
Study after study has confirmed students who eat breakfast not only do better in class, but they are less likely to be absent.
Despite the clear effect of breakfast programs and the availability of funds, today's report says fewer than half the eligible schools have enrolled in the federal program. And the program is reaching only a third of the low-income students it could help.
Hackensack, New Jersey does not participate, even though a third of its students are eligible. Officials in Hackensack and other school districts say it is not always easy to rearrange bus schedules, to provide meals at schools without kitchens, and bring in teachers early to supervise students. Other officials say the federal government does not always cover every cost. And some school administrators argue they should not be taking on another family responsibility like breakfast. But the study's authors say the growing number of children in poverty should be the first concern.
If the bottom line is that some kids either get fed or not get fed, let's err on the side of making sure children get fed. What wrong can come of that?
Supporters of the breakfast program say the number of schools participating could double if administrators would view it not as a problem, but as a way to help their students and their schools. Bob Jamison, ABC News, Paterson, New Jersey.
In a moment, we'll go to New Hampshire for presidential politics. Governor Clinton says he feels better about his momentum. On the American agenda tonight, the red menace from the sea. And finally this evening, going down a mountain the hard way.
This is World News.
It takes 5 days left until the New Hampshire primary. All the Democratic candidates are up there today, and 4 of them sense an opportunity in all the attention being given to the 5th, Governor Clinton of Arkansas. Here's ABC's Jim Wooten.
Governor Clinton did not look like a candidate in trouble today. Not in this raucous high school gym. Heavy with enthusiasm, a bit light on voters, and not on the frigid sidewalks of concrete.
Wonderful. I've been getting great big crowds and a lot of real interest.
Now there's a scene from almost any campaign. Press and staff trailing the candidate from one stop to the next. But this is not just any campaign. Clinton is struggling to save his candidacy.
New Hampshire, it's time for the truth.
He's launched an 11th-hour advertising blitz that defends his draft record and, without offering proof, blames the White House for his tabloid troubles.
Fact, the president's Republican operatives were involved in promoting the untrue Jennifer Flowers story to destroy Bill Clinton.
After a day off, the new frontrunner in the polls, Paul Tsongas, reappeared today and took the high road on Clinton.
Well, they have attacked Bill from the very beginning. As soon as he became the frontrunner, that's what they did. I'm not going to participate in that.
And much the same from Senator Kerry.
I'm not going to reopen the wounds of that war in this campaign. I don't think it's a political issue for Bill Clinton. It's not a campaign issue for me.
Senator Harkin took a tougher line, suggesting it's all over for Clinton, at least in New Hampshire.
It looks as though this race is coming down to a two-person race, Mr. Tsongas and myself.
Tonight and tomorrow night, Governor Clinton has bought 2 half-hour blocks of local television time to discuss those issues he believes are important. At the same time, however, his 30-second commercials may run the risk of reminding viewers and voters of those issues he'd like to leave behind him. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
We want to take a closer look now at the campaign of Senator Harkin. More than any of his Democratic rivals, Senator Harkin has tried to tailor his message to those working-class groups which have formed the core of the Democratic Party since the days of Franklin Roosevelt. ABC's Judy Muller on how his message is being received in New Hampshire, 1992.
He calls himself a prairie populist, an unabashed liberal, and the only real Democrat in the race.
You don't want 4 more years of Bush, do you?
No, I'm not so sure.
Ah, come on. This guy's taking your jobs. You're going to close these plants down, ship them down to Mexico.
Labor union support here is the backbone of Harkin's campaign. He is proposing a New Deal, reminiscent of President Roosevelt's, one aimed at creating jobs through a massive public works program. At the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard yesterday, he promised to save jobs jeopardized by defense cutbacks.
But unlike President Bush, I'm not forgetting the workers and our veterans of the Cold War.
That message was a hit.
As someone who's come from the people who hasn't forgotten where he came from and is looking out for the little guy, me.
But in courting the white-collar vote at an insurance company, Harkin sounded not so much like a champion of the little guy as an accountant out to slash defense spending in favor of social programs.
Head Start. I want to fully fund Head Start. How much does it cost? $5 billion, the cost of 5 B-2 bombers.
I particularly like the fact that he's interested in looking at how we're spending our money. Many times, people are just too anxious to raise taxes.
Harkin's New Deal includes a middle-class tax break, national health care, and, as he told a college audience yesterday, increased spending for education.
It means ensuring, once and for all, that every young person in America who wants a college education will get a college education, no questions asked.
But the new generation here may not buy a New Deal.
It's just old news, old policies, already gone, things that won't help right now.
What's the phrase New Deal mean to you?
It doesn't have significance for me.
So Harkin has difficulty convincing a younger generation that he is not a political relic. He also has been criticized, even by colleagues.